to Kim Drummond to for karakia.
Kia mā kine kine ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tau. Ihi aki ana, a te kura, he teo, he huka, he hohu, he hei Māori ora.
Thank you. Now, I'd just like to ask if there's any apologies. I have one from Sheila Linford and a leave of absence from Robert Hewson. And I believe we have Chris Hill zooming in today. Is she here?
She hasn't yet connected.
Yet? Okay. We'll just like okay. Now my computer. Public forum. Now we have 30 minutes. Oh, sorry. Can I have I'll move the apologies. Can I have a second, please? Henry? In favour? Okay. All right. So public forum. We have 30 minutes in public forum. 6 speakers allocated. 5 minutes each. Speakers must be respectful and avoid repetition, criticism of elected members and of staff, and avoid speaking on matters subject to legal proceedings. So, first up, we have Amanda Power. So I don't know the acronym EPOB, but before you can unlock it.
And you can just say EPOB.
EPOB.
So they are emergency resilient containers
for
communities
yep.
And businesses.
Yep. Okay. EPOD
began in Hawke's Bay before Cyclone Gabrielle, which was quite fortunate, not explaining it too well. My name is Amanda. I originally from Scotland, and I used to go on the track and then I joined the Auckland for a long time. And then left the police force and ended up in Hawke's Bay, where I was employed by a company called Cruiser with a K. And we have for 20 years been making clothing for sports groups and schools and universities. So rugby gear, netball gear, things like that. So we've had a lot of involvement with trusts and communities to try and fund the sports. So thank you for inviting me to the forum. EPOD is E-P-O-D. Obviously my business cards there. And on the other side is it's EPOD that we're discussing. But just when we're ready.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to pause you just for a second because I have a sneaking suspicion that the sound is going to be really bad for our Zoom attendees. It's coming through my laptop and not the central unit.
I can hear you well, Jess, but the presentation's more difficult to pick up all of it.
There's quite a few slides on this and I won't go for it. I will leave most of it out because of the time, but it can be emailed to you if you want to read more. And of course, there is our website if you need more information as well.
So,
Yeah, where we're currently sitting at, Wairoa purchased 25 e-pods before Cyclone Gabriel. And the last e-pod was delivered on a Friday and the cyclone hit Monday. So we were very lucky that we had those in there. The region reached out to us because they were continually being hammered by these weather events and they had nothing. They didn't even have high-vis vests to put on and torches to get on the road. So that was funded by the Ministry of Maori Development. Yeah, 25.
sorry.
Sorry.
That's all right. The others that we have put in place around New Zealand, we've got one that's been purchased by Ngāi Tahu and for the South Island, and we're currently in conversations with them where there's another 20 that's probably going to be broadcasted in a few weeks. So Ngāi Tahu are buying an e-pod to place alongside each marae in the South Island so that they can be resilient and look after themselves until help comes, especially if a F8 occurs in the next 50 years. Or after.
Is that next one?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
So basically, they're a one-trip container that have been engineered. They're engineered so that they last. They're not going. We do not want to sell something that has not got the longevity for our children and our grandchildren. They have the proper feet. They have all the ventilation and the ventilation on top as well as the sides. They have shelving. They have units where you can attach electricity or generators. There is lighting. The thing is, once a community decides that they want one, we then design it to suit the community. Not everyone is the same because some communities already have some communities already have generators. So you don't need all that. So it's a safe, secure start that's transportable. So the 10-foot containers, 20-foot containers and 40, but the 10 can be transported by helicopter, where the rest is by truck. Masterton have just purchased one and they got their funding through MPI, through rural funding. And the Dartmoor community in Hawke's Bay, at the moment, Eastern Central Community Trust, First Light Trust and crowdfunding are funding their e-pod. So everyone's doing it a little bit differently, which is great. Go to the next one. Okay, so as you know, we live in a high risk environment, New Zealand is. So if we look at the future disaster events, and this is through research findings, AF8, which is the Alpine Fault 8, 75% probability in the next 50 years, which is going to cause widespread damage, isolation and predicted economic losses of between 50 and 100 or more $billion. There, of course, is the Hikurangi Fault, which is in the North Island and does affect the South Island a bit. And locality, New Zealand, most of us, 75% of us live within 5 kilometres of the ocean. We need to also be aware that we have disproportionately affected communities. So we need to pay special attention to our communities and groups and people who could be affected by disasters because of their geographical, social and cultural communities, groups and people. We live, we've also got, New Zealand has disaster risk. Of course, we've got the natural hazards, including droughts, earthquakes, coastal hazards, floods, severe weather events, space weather, tsunami, volcanic activity and wildfires, and of course slips as well to cut people off, regions off. And climate change, it's certainly the frequency and the impact of our natural hazards seems to have ramped itself up, and the severe weather events as well, which of course include the heavy rain and the strong winds. Yes, thank you, Jess. So with Cyclone Gabriel, I'll just go over this very briefly, but as you can see, we had a lot of rain in a very short amount of time, which came down through our rivers and caused chaos. We had 30 isolated communities, but 54 were actually impacted during that, and 1,200 dwellings were significantly damaged. We're looking at 25 plus bridges destroyed. The Napier-Wairoa railway line was damaged. We had significant power outages across the region, and that was without power for 7 days. I myself was in Napier with no power for 7 days. Everything rotting in the fridge and the freezer. Council wouldn't collect rubbish, so you can imagine what that was like. And then no power to communicate with family to let them know that we were fine. And of course, the supermarkets, first off, would only take cash, and not many of us carry a bit of cash anymore. And of course, the 80% cell phone coverage and the landslides and the 500 plus helicopter flights, which was a huge cost with over 400 volunteers. Thank you, Jess. So this is where our e-pods were delivered just prior to Cyclone Gabriel. As you can see, it's mostly Wairoa. They were funded by the Ministry of Māori Development, as I said, and being one of the worst affected regions, our e-pods provided a critical lifeline to many communities. We've worked closely with Whānau Ora and
Sorry.
it's okay. And with that, we have had some wonderful feedback, but also some learnings, because this was us at our very beginning. They were our very first 25 e-pods. We've changed our locking system. We don't use keys anymore. It's a keypad. We've changed the feet. We've changed the ventilation. We've changed quite a bit. So we learned a lot from that as well. Thank you. So this is from Rangi Manuel, who headed this for us. So you might have seen him on the TV. So he said, e-pod has provided exceptional customer service from concept to on-time delivery of 20 times resilient emergency pods for the Wairoa district. The communities will benefit enormously from this initiative for years to follow, as the area is prone to climate change and isolation in the event of natural disasters that unfortunately started with, well, the biggest impact was Cyclone Gabriel. I would definitely recommend their service to others because of their professionalism, attention to detail and commitment to community projects. And that's just, one of the images from Cyclone Gabriel. It's in Napier. So our solution is that we're wanting to get ready. We're wanting a quicker response. We're wanting people to recover quickly and be more resilient, because help is coming, but help may be a few days or even a week away, depending on what happens. So this is Naitahu's first e-pod. So it's emergency points of distribution. Jess. So keep going if you like, so I might just go over this due to time. Yeah, we'll go to the next one. This is a very rough CAD drawing, and you don't, they don't have to have the solar panels, they don't have to have everything that is displayed on there. The good thing with us is that we can engineer it to suit the community or the business, or so they don't all have to be the same. Thank you. So what we've done to help some people is that they don't have a organisation within their community. So we've split the ePod up into sections. This is just to give you an idea. So the red section is for communications and technology. It's life-saving, it's emergency response, whereas the middle of the ePod is where you're going to keep your tools, your cooking, your fuel, your shelter, your storage. And then the green is more food, baby items, pet items, warmth and shelter. What we can do is give you a document, and we're working on an app as well, so that people can keep tabs of their stock and expiry dates. And they might not need a green sector. You might just need a red and an orange, or the whole thing might be just red. Because you might have some other structure in your community that you can put other sectors in. Yeah. And we'll flip to the last slide, I think. So this community involvement, what we're trying to do is a top-down and bottom-up approach. Traditionally, emergency management focus on top-down. An ePod system places strong emphasis on community involvement, but by design, ePods facilitate a bottom-up approach through local leadership and decision-making. We can help with training as well of how to use the products within the ePod. We're trying to get communities to take some responsibility and take some of the initial workload of the emergency services. So they're often overwhelmed, and sometimes their own buildings are overwhelmed. ePod systems can significantly alleviate this workload by handling many of the initial response activities that consume their time. ePods are designed to be robust, adaptable, capable of withstanding severe weather conditions, and provides essential services. Thank you, Jess. And we'll actually flip to the last slide. So we've had many meetings with emergency management. That involves the Tasman Emergency Management and Civil Defence. I've been down to Southland and Otago, and my last conversation was with Tasman Civil Defence and Emergency Management. I don't know if you all know Joe Kennedy.
Yep.
Yeah. So the idea is that we are wanting to help them help you. So what we would like to do is to identify potential communities that would possibly need an ePod, and then use other businesses within that community to try and fund these ePods for each community. So we're not just here, this is what we've got, we're here to also help rally the troops. We're here to go and speak to tallies, we're here to speak to whoever, roading, whoever's got the money in the community, and try and pull this together. Next one. So do you need anything clarified?
I had a couple of questions. Cost, ballpark.
Yeah, ballpark, they start around 30,000.
Yep.
Yeah. And that, when I say that, that is a structure for the community to start on. So it's got the ventilation, it's got the feet, it's got the locking system, it's got the shelves. It's whatever we can get for that 30,000 for you, we will. So that's the start. With Tanui, what they were going to do was to start with the actual, because they didn't know if MPI was going to come through with the funding. So they were going to start with the structure because they had enough money from a couple of trusts in the region. And then MPI came through with the rural funding for them. So they were able to stock it with whatever they needed.
And I'll just kind of run the table. Do we not have one of these over at our local marae, Tahu marae? I believe they already have it's a container full of all the emergency gear.
Yeah, I heard that there's two in Tasman.
Yeah.
I have asked the question, are they accessible to everyone? And I got the answer no.
Okay.
So,
Follow that one up.
yeah, and that's what our communications with other organisations has been as well, is that there may be an e-pod here, but who is that for?
I was just going to say, and who actually would be in charge of it? Who would actually be the responsibility exactly?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Would it be fire and emergency, or would it be civil defence, or would it be a bunch of farmers up the road?
Exactly. So my conversations with emergency management is that they are with civil defence, and they are wanting communities to try and be resilient themselves. But we as a company, if needed, we can help with the logistics of it. Some communities are like, no, get it started and we'll take over. That's why we came up with that triage system, the red and the green and the orange, because people were needing help in regards to, okay, what do we do now? Once we've got it, who looks after the stock? Who gets rid of the expired stock? Yeah.
Any other questions from board members? Well, thank you. I appreciate your time today, and we've got your card, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Do
I request that it goes on the agenda, or does it go on the agenda automatically?
It'll enter.
It'll go into the minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And,
Yeah.
and it will be on the we record meetings, so we'll go on to that as well.
Lovely. So can I just mention one other thing? Yeah. Just in regards to, say, if you thought, right, the community does need a few of these, my thoughts are that if the board or the trust is thinking, okay, maybe this is something we could fund a fifth of, what I would need from you is to say, okay, this is what we could possibly do, but we need to find the funding from somewhere else. And that's where I can step in and approach people for the community. I'll be doing the same for Richmond, the same for Nelson. Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we do live in a very vulnerable area with a large hill, and weather that patterns that are changing around here. So I think it's a good start. Right. So who else have we got next?
Chris is next on the list.
Chris Bennett. He's not in the room. Okay. Then we'll skip him for now, in case he turns back up. Bill Wallace.
Thank you for the time today. I've distributed a couple copies of the Makaweka doc here. My understanding is because they had so much difficulty getting a doc, they just built it themselves. They said they had 7 to 8 been donators that built the thing. I can't get a real cost of it, but I actually built docks somewhere as this, just below Canada, dealt with scraping ice off them, to drive a nail, that sort of stuff. I priced these out, and I don't think they're about 25% of the cost of 1.5 or 1.4, probably $1.6 million now. I was told that it would be started after the commercial side is done. It seems like doesn't seem what's going on, because the last talk with Chris, Nick Chin. Anyway, he said, no, there has to be a feasibility study. A feasibility to me means that it's going to have to pay for itself. For years, that Barren Ramp down there has been collecting $200 from each person that wants their vote, or $12.50 per launch. That seems like well enough to fund what we should be able to have down there. Launching a boat as TDC is a corporation and a business offering a service, there's considerable health and safety factor there. Launching a boat, you either have to have two people, one launching the boat, the other parking the vehicle in a multi-stage process, or just impossible for one person. I'm 71 years old. I just bought a boat. No, excuse me, I bought it a year ago, and I haven't put it in the water yet because I just resist going down there and taking the risk of having to fall off the drawbar, which I have before, launching down there, or ending up against the rocks because there's nothing to tie up, not even a rock to tie up to there. Yeah, I've had a couple of people tell me, well, harden up when we're trying to launch a boat. I've been launching boats since I was a teenager from Alaska to Mexico. I've had lots of different sorts of boats. Very few of these larger commercial marinas like this are without something to launch your boat safely. So I'm here again, just asking some questions. This new Christopher Luxon's fast tracking consenting, can it apply to getting us a launching dock up there? Two, why is the cost 1.5 million when the cost is really 20%? It seems like the council is paying themselves $1.3 million for the consents and studies and feasibility and all this sort of. Four, we're down already. Three, I did that one already. About the increases in prices, I used to keep a boat out there. I thought it was like 60 or 70 bucks. It went from 119 to 175, where I was going to put my boat down there in the yard. So to put my boat down there in the yard with insurance would be $1,500 a year for any kind of boat down there. And you have one faucet, one hose, and one power point in the whole unit. You're responsible for your own security. You have to be insured. And all the other charges have risen well beyond the inflation rate. $210 to launch a boat a year, $3,100 to live on a mooring, $6,300 to live at a dock. And when I'm being told all these budget restraints and hurrying us to get the mussel industry taken care of before they leave, I don't recall anywhere in the original plans, August and July of 2019, where there was toilet or showers, dining room, kitchen facilities, and laundry facilities anywhere in that plan for the commercial side.
4.5 minutes, Bill. 4.5 minutes.
Okay, well, I'm just asking, was that, I'd like to ask, was all those things that just came up included in the original plan, or was that $6 million and the other $6 million that central government, I believe, what I read right, matched? Was that $12 million all gone to dining, kitchen, showers, laundry room for the commercial side? Because it just seems so unrealistic that they're pandering to the commercial side when we have, you know, a life and death issue. I've known people who have been injured launching their boats down there in the Bear End, and I'd just like to see this thing taken care of. Another thing is we were promised in writing from Nick Chin to have toilets and water before Christmas, and TDC defaulted on that.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Are there any clarifying questions from the board?
I was just wondering, what was your ballpark costing that you came up with?
I think it could be done for 200,000 at the most, $250,000, not 1.5 million. I've got down to the bolts, the nuts, the hinges, not the floats, but I have an idea of what the floats cost. I tallied up what Montewake's cost and per cube and all that stuff. And it's the easiest sort of structure. It's not even as complicated as Lego. It's just putting blocks together and drilling holes, square to square butts. And the holes, I was told, could be driven up of a large with Solis digger. And I've built houses like that also before.
All right.
Thank you. Does Chris? No. We'll go with Cynthia.
Kia ora everyone, speaking today on behalf of Forest and Beauty Golden Bay. Last month we had 3 jet skis going at high speed up the Taki River from the Waitaki Bridge and hurning through the Waitaki history. Now, I understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that there is a speed limit on the Taki River, but there is no signage there for anyone to see. So I'm asking today if perhaps some signage could be put up. On the Matai River, they actually have it on the bridge. I don't know if that would be an option here, but if it was, it would be safe for any vendors and damage from the public. On the wider issue, Forest and Dirt have submitted on the THP, and I'm not quite sure where the thing is at this moment, but we've submitted on prohibition of these high-speed aquatic craft like jet skis and jet boats. And the problem we had with the jet boat there, again, it was driving at high speed within a certain distance of the shore, and they were spoken to by the harbour master, so we have resolved that one, but you do wonder when you might get another one. This would be the local owner. So we would like to see for our 3 Rivers project between the Onahu River and the Motukabi stream a prohibition on these craft. We have no objection whatsoever to passive water recreation, like recreational fishing, paddleboards, kayaks, canoes, all that sort of thing. The big problem for us is disturbance to shorebirds and seabirds, and Council commissions the Mickey McArthur report on coastal birds of the Tasman district, and this area was highlighted, the Takapa River mouth, as having very high values, international values. There are well over 2,000 shorebirds and seabirds who rely on this area to nest, to eat, and to rest. So, having these types of craft in this area is totally unsuitable for their long-term survival. So that's my ask today, that you would support that as a community board, and that we would see some signage there.
Thank you, Cynthia. I should have actually mentioned it before to Peter. Peter is our new harbour master. He's joined us at the table today, and we're introducing Peter to our community. So your questions were probably very good timing. Yeah. Has the board got any other questions for Cynthia about this?
We just were you thinking of having signage like on the bridge that's visible from the water? Sort of.
Yes, so that when they go under the bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's an option. Someone will have to look at it, but I know they do it on the Matai River in Nelson, so it's quite vandal-proof.
Yeah.
Whereas something put on the Taki Bridge, last one, I've experienced a lot of TDC signage.
Yeah.
And it's your understanding that the launching is at that, just beside the Waitaki Bridge, at the area which is available for launching.
Oh,
There's no launching downstream of the bridge, is there?
It's all like rock wall on the
Yeah,
other
so
side.
it has to be above the bridge.
Yes, absolutely.
You're asking for a complete prohibition, like a complete ban on boats, or just the boats not being limited?
On the fast, we're asking for prohibition on high speed.
Yeah, so not at all.
No, we don't have a problem with recreational fishers and, little boats go on.
Just 5 knots.
Yeah, no problem.
Just things like jet skis and
Yeah, so as long as they're doing 5 knots, so it'd be okay, or do you want to
Yes,
not there at all?
I don't think it's so jet boat or a jet ski at 5 knots.
No.
Yeah, not on the Waitaki stream.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, we don't have Chris Bennett, so unfortunately we have to move on. Thank you to those folks in public forum today now. Declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest?
So it's John B.
John B.
I'm not sure if this is available for the next, so I could be a member, so it's a me.
I work for the, my name's John Bullock. I work for the TDC in the comms unit.
Our communications team. Thanks, John.
You. Thanks, John. Okay. Right, declaration of interest. Is there any? No, okay. Now, can I have some confirmation of the minutes from the 12th of February? We'll read our minutes. Councillor Butler, second. All in favour? Carried. Okay, late items. I would like to introduce a couple of late items one is just roading issues, and we've got several roading issues we'd like to talk about, and special projects funding. So, yeah.
I'll move that we have those amendments.
And seconder?
Yeah.
Community Board Dixon, and all in favour? Carried. Thank you. We'll get then onto them in the chair's report. Presentations, well, we sort of had one, but there's none of those reports. The chair report. Okay. So, well. Short one this year, week. Right, items from the February Public Forum. Gombe Forest and Bird. We sort of, the walk through Tākaka is a great concept, a good idea. And the Friends of East Mahua, Harms, Stoffren, Westland Regeneration Project. Councillor Butler.
I can give a wee update upon that. These are zoned residential, and because they're zoned residential, they are entitled to a connection to the wastewater system. So there is interest from buyers for all but one of these titles, even though there's one title's been bought and there's three others, even though they're very low lying. And so the question arises as to what is actually on the LIM report, because these have been zoned residential for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
So that's something that this community board might be interested in finding and asking about.
Yeah, I've done a wee bit of research too, and spoke to our senior climate advisor, and she also realises there's actually a liability to TDC if we were to just let this happen in a way. It's we can't stop it, but I don't think. But I think we need to really look at supporting their Friends of East Mahua to purchase this. It'll be a really good, I believe, it'll be a really good environmentally sound thing to do for council. We would definitely make a good case for doing this as an environmental motivation. And the thing is there in full council would there be the finances, would council have finances to help with this? I wasn't too sure whether they were just going to do 100% crowdfunding for it. They want to do that, and what is it that council can do to make it easier? Where do we want to sit with this? I mean, I want to support it. Obviously, we all think pretty supportive of it. And I think we've got some staff who are supportive of it. Where do we go from here? How can we, do we do we make a motion to?
Are you thinking of financial support?
I think it goes beyond financial support as well. I don't know if there's money to do that. It'd be nice to. I think there could be, but that's probably quite a lot of money. And there's, as we know, there's probably other things that are more important as far as council goes with stuff they need to do. So we make it easier for them in other ways.
Kim might be able to talk to this, but my understanding was that the requirements to get a building will be set extremely high.
So I'll bring through the chair on that. So in this block, there's private land that's with willing parties wanting to contribute to a wider wetland project. There's some residential zoned land, which is in the various stages of people showing interest about purchasing. And there's also some council-owned land that could actually be added to this. And I think from my take of what was discussed, a useful step for the board to take is to seek staff advice on the value of the restoration project across that full area. Early indications from the likes of Trevor James is there would be value in it. But of course, what we've heard from is that, a group of people who have landowning interests and, see a bigger potential. And I think for the board to take the step further, it would be quite useful to get a sense of saying does the staff advice agree with what the aspirations of the people behind the idea? That'd be a useful first step. I think that would then start to guide the wider council's interest in contributing its land resource to the package. The matter of the owners of the sections should they be purchased, it's pretty much going to be a cooperative venture. I don't think you would imagine regulation requiring people to free up this land. It'd have to be people purchasing the sections with the idea of contributing towards a thing like this. It is also true that in terms of building on those sites, there are some regulatory constraints which sort of sit alongside the fact that yes, they're zone residential, but that's not a green ticket for for building without those sorts of hazards assessments and things. So it's a challenging series of building sites, but I think at this point we're really useful to get a good sense of the value of this project, because it is being offered up as quite a flagship for the module. And my early indications are it's worth asking that question, because I think the value of this is actually quite supported internally. So not quite apart from the climate change people, but the core ecologists, would this use of this site in this way contribute to the aspirations that those hold. So I think that would be useful to go back to staff on.
I did talk to Terry James about it. Had similar feelings. So do we need to have a meeting with Trevor and
we'll just get some advice from Trevor, and I mean obviously he's got other work programs and exactly which committee meeting he gets targeted for might be a bit negotiable, but I think bringing a report here on the value of that is a useful step.
Okay.
Another interesting thing that was pointed out to me by Hans Stockergan is this area of land is actually not protected by the Pahara flood protection scheme that has recently been completed. So it's actually not protected. In fact, it's the opposite. So it's it's likely to suffer in flood situations whereas the other properties that are designed to be protected will be protected. And the water's got to go somewhere.
It is a liability in a way for council. So I think, yeah. All right, we will contact Trevor, and I'm happy to do that. Maybe it's an action, and ask for a report. Might get one from Barbara as well, just to strengthen that, and hopefully the next meeting we'll have something to talk about a bit more. Yeah, very supportive of it.
Pretty busy time at the moment. I don't know what bank won't be next meeting,
No.
but I think if you get a request in the system,
I mean, if these properties get sold in the meantime, it puts into a different category, and that's why it kind of feels to me like urgency is required. I know you like you said that we've got a lot going on at the moment, but how do we kind of get by that and sort of start that full park rolling without, you know, someone jumping in and buying it? It's a rhetorical question, I guess.
yeah, I mean, the parties are interested in crowdfunding.
Chris.
Thank you, Chair. Look, I do know that there's some interest in the land. That this first section particularly is, you know, there are people looking at it and to buy it. So it could sell very quickly. It also might not, but I have spoken with the owner, just sort of checking out what was happening there, and I know there's interest. So, yep, it could just get sold. You know, crowdfunding would need to happen very, very quickly, I think, to secure anything.
Yeah. All right.
Does Hans and have some money, you know, to go ahead?
But I'm not clear. It's not clear. What I understand is that they may be pursuing a charitable organisation, possibly, or might have been going through a charitable organisation, but I won't speak about that because I'm not clear.
Yeah, sure.
So
I guess
they're looking at different avenues, and it may be that, I mean, given that there's more than one on the market, it might be that one gets sold or two, and it may be that this is a smaller project than what was anticipated. But number two apparently is not even being, it is being sold, but it's quite small, and that's in between the others.
right. Yeah. Even if there was a bit of money to sort of secure it to start with, that would be really good, wouldn't it? You know, some sort of deposit on it and get them to hold it.
Well, there's 3 sections. So
Yeah. Tim.
Do you know, Kim, perhaps if there's any way that the council could put some conditions on granting a building consent, like a certain amount has to be set aside for wetlands, or like some sort of mitigation? Would that be sort of part of that? Or?
Well, no, I think your building consent applications and the resource consent applications that go with it just need to be considered on the merits.
Right. Yeah.
But it's identified by the hazard skies as being a difficult, challenging site. So,
right.
So we know that, but precisely what that would mean in terms of mitigations for the person who wanted to use it for a building site.
Yeah,
it's pretty much a process for them.
Right. Yeah,
and you have to be in there and ask all the questions.
Yeah.
And they'll be answered on the merits.
Right.
But in terms of grant, in terms of is there an opportunity to jump in and do something quick? Well, the answer is, can anyone buy those sections?
Yeah,
exactly. That's where the opportunity exists, and there's no immediate suggestion that council is in any sort of position to do that.
No, I get that. Yeah, pretty obvious at the meeting this morning. Okay, so that's the action.
The community board does support the project.
Yeah, and we'd like to sit around the table.
Yeah,
I think
and is seeking reassurance from staff that it's a project worth pursuing.
That's where we're up to today.
Yeah, and it'd be nice to sit around the table if there's you know, as a board member, well, one board member representing any
Yes.
group that.
Great.
And I was just the other thing I just wonder about that. Has anyone gone to Mana Whenua ki Mahua about it? That's
I think they
probably,
have.
yeah,
Yeah, I think they have.
And it has got their backing, I think, in
it's
principle.
got the backing in principle too. Okay, so we can only, this is it, it's this point, okay. Now, sorry, I'm going to go back to Cynthia's walk around Tākaka. That's quite a big issue. I think that's a lot of that's pretty huge. And I wonder if we need to get back to her at some point and just get a really good idea of where that walk actually was, and you know, work with her.
I suggest that we ask reserves, Parks and Reserves for a report
Ah, thank you.
about this.
Yep. Cool. Okay. Yep.
And particularly the
Right.
No. Down by Sunbelt Prisons.
particularly the walk that goes down behind the properties and along, and we have found out at the last meeting that the driveway is actually council land. So it's possible that we'll walk
Oh, right.
across the driveway, and the board, Parks and Reserves did say that they're in the process of organising gates there. But I think that we need to have a report about that particular walk
Okay.
and what the scope of it can be.
And any other setup possibility, you know, there's that other little bit down Waitapa Road that goes down to the river behind. I think it's a little,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the crusher is.
On the corner.
It's down by the
Down by
A-frame.
the-
There's a little down Waitapa Road, down by the A-frame.
Yeah.
There's a little reserve that we have to mow all the time. Do you know the one I mean? That's a funny little piece of pocket of land.
Right, but it could be a loop.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? It'd be nice to find that out.
Through you, Grant, you confirming alongside between Haldane Road and Waitapu Road along the bank of the Te Kaukau stream.
Along that bank of that stream, but back from Haldane Road towards Tākaka,
Yes.
there is a small reserve in there.
Yes. Okay.
That's specifically where I was thinking of as well. And you know, if you could get all the way along to Rose's Road,
That'd be a good.
wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if those properties have riparian rights where they kind of land on that. Yeah, unknown. Okay.
Can't get through
Wouldn't let them be able to.
Well, they are cleaning it up. There's a big cleanup process going on along Te Kaukau Street.
I think we could ask Lynn to just as a start report back to us about Sunbelt Crescent Walk.
Yep. No, good idea.
And any other walks in Tākaka that she wanted to comment on.
Possibilities.
Would that be?
That's good.
That sounds good.
Right.
Good idea.
Okay. Oh, yeah, there's some there anyway. The special projects funding. I didn't realise. I mustn't have read my report. Okay, so it says here joint community board special project fund policy is currently under review. Board members need to provide feedback on the draft document. Have we seen that yet?
It's gone through Abby, and you're supposed to be referring back to Abby so that she can collate that information to then send through to the democracy team. For a
Right.
final report to be collated. And then
You've seen it, Henry? No, I don't think so. We haven't seen it yet, so I guess
I'll pop an action in there for Abby.
please, yeah. I think we should have a little meeting around that.
fund.
My understanding, we have got a reasonable amount of money, and it would be nice to spend it before we get more. At least have some projects lined up before we have more. And that also comes down to how do we put this? Do we put it out to the community? We have talked about this a little bit. Do we put it out to the community and say, hey, look, we've got this money, throw us your ideas, no matter how wacky and crazy they are? Or do we just come up with some ideas and put them out to the community and say, these are the ideas we've got? What do you think? Two ways of doing it. I know that Motueka do it that way. They come up with a whole lot of ideas, put it out to the community to sort of vote on. But we don't have to be like Motueka.
So we need to consult on this.
Sorry,
I think so.
through the chair, the joint policy that is being developed will also include updated criteria. So there'll be the criteria for funding. So that's going to be key to helping determine which applicants and which projects are considered as well.
Right.
So whilst they're two separate things, they are also linked.
Thank you. All right. Okay, number 5, the code of conduct policy.
I was just going to say to you, well, we're going to hear from new harbour master at some point.
Oh, what? Yes, of course. Thank you. He did come in to talk to us and introduce himself to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I just wanted to make sure you hit that right.
Yeah, no, it's down at the end here.
All right, okay.
Where is it?
Yep.
Yeah, I've got it. Oh, it wasn't written on the thing, but I've got it. Yeah, the code of conduct policy. I wanted to just move that through that quickly. We haven't seen anything back from that yet. We're still waiting, but it can't be too far away. So I'm looking forward to that. Maybe we can into it. Not much to say on that. And the board mural that we'll get. Actually, I'll get to you next, because obviously the mural project idea is take a little while. So, Peter, please introduce yourself. Welcome to Golden Bay and welcome to the community board meeting.
Thank you. Peter Renshaw. Lived in Motueka. It's high school really. Very local. Done a lot of voting over this way as well. New harbour master. And really keen just to get out around the district at the moment, meeting people, getting to know everyone. I've got a good background in the district on both commercial and recreational boats. Worked for Seashell in the National Park. We've done a lot of compliance paperwork with Maritime New Zealand. Education background with AMIT as an nautical tutor. Served in New Zealand for 8.5 years as first officer for his mate. So yeah, pretty broad sort of a CV. But yeah, like I said before, I'm sort of broad, just getting around at the moment, meeting people, putting faces to names and names to faces. Really pleased to be here today just to say hi to you guys. Yeah, really easy to get in touch. I know I've already had contact with a few people. She was here a minute ago, but yeah, a few people here I've already had contact with already. Yeah, got the same phone number as Dan had as well, so I'm easy to contact her on the phone. For harbour master at Tasman, gets straight through to me and my activity call, which is the easiest way of doing it. It was a bit of a lag, people emailing down direct with an email account that got shut down. So trying to devote anybody who's got questions to the harbour master to go to the harbour master's email address and get picked up. It's quite important. Yeah. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, what's your like? What do you? What is your jurisdictions of cover?
So all navigation and safety, so anything to do with water safety, really. The whole district,
so including out
Carrying points to just to the estuary at Hununu, really. And
12 miles out.
Yeah, and 12 miles out.
12 miles.
So a long way out. Yeah. so all water safety. I know I's already left as well, but you know, we've already had a question about Tarakoe. So Tarakoe is managed by Steve Tennant, the harbour manager. But again, anything to do with water safety, he calls me on because I'm the jurisdiction for water safety.
Right. So Bill's comments sort of the in your direction.
To do with the marina,
Yes.
from a safety point of view, yes, but in terms of funding and scope and all that's all to do with Steve Tennant and Stephen Batt, I think, because that's not managed by my department at all. So yeah, if there was a serious safety concern, I could be asked in as an advisor. Which I think is where it's going to go to. Things like the Marpur thing, I'll probably get called in on that one as an advisor, but I'm not involved in any of the planning or anything like that at all. I'm just called in as an expert, I guess, on the marine industry and safety concerns.
That's one of the unique things about a unitary authority is you're the infrastructure owner and provider as well as the regulator.
Right.
So the harbour master function and the resource consenting function, the building permit function, the compliance function all sits on the regulator side. So despite the fact that it's council owning those assets and operating them, are still subject to these regulatory requirements.
Doing two things.
That's what a unitary council does. It's unique nature.
Right.
You know, Canterbury, the harbour masters in Canterbury and the port is completely separate. City council owned asset, you know, and so they're regulating another council utilisation of the court here. We're doing the same thing. And just another bit of clarification around this appointment. Previously, Adrian Humphreys was regulatory manager and had oversight of the harbour master. I've made some changes to the harbour master, now reports directly to me. And the last board meeting, we had Shane Bruins come along. He's Adrian's replacement, so he's the regulatory manager, but he doesn't have oversight of the harbour master. So we just changed the structure and the makeup slightly. To give greater profile of the harbour master function as the key requirement behind that.
And the other one I'll mention as well, hopefully in the next sort of Tasman updates, I'll be talking a little bit about, I'll have a bit in there about our vessel and our capabilities to move it around the district. So just to let you guys know while I'm here as well, currently we're moving it around the district on water only. So you will see some photos when I get around to it of it up at Nelson Lakes. It went up there on a low loader. It wasn't towed there, so we're not towing it anywhere currently due to its weight really. Outside the requirements for towing road legally under the deck we've currently got, but we do still come around here as often as we can by sea, and it's something we will be looking into as to how to get around here by road again as well. And better supportable areas, I suppose. But currently, we can fulfill everything on water quite easily with the vessel we've got. There's no problem there. But if you see anything or hear anyone talking about it, that's where it's at. We are still over here. We can still come over here. There's no problems at all. Just we can't tow the boat over here. Right.
Well, 12 miles out's a long way too. Especially if you're already going out from Talavera.
So what's the situation with jet skis if they you know, well, not even just jet skis, but when people witness problems with you know, water skiing boats and I mean particularly Tara Beach.
We've had a few issues this year with Tara Beach.
Or with Liger Bay with jet skis coming into Liger Bay. Who do they, you know, can people contact somebody? I mean, you can't be on call all the time.
So
how does that work? Do they ring the Tasman District Council number?
and that will get put through either to me if I am available, or they'll make a job sheet, I guess, that'll come to me as a tasking to look into research why through the service model. So definitely contact the council. Ideally, I really need pictures and videos. One thing that will be discussed when we get to reviewing our navigation safety bylaw will be whether we're looking at what other districts have done in terms of registration for small boats. A lot of that's coming from the jet ski scene is you know, a way of how many jet skis have we got? Can they be accountable? You know, So if you actually do a photo with registration on the side of the jet ski, then sure, we can actually regulate what you do.
Well, you can communicate with them if you know who they are. There's no
Exactly.
mechanism at the moment to
You've got an
identify.
audience.
No subset of voting activity that the national system allows you to segregate, then get different.
It's the
Business
most
is-
frontier.
It's white voting and that.
So in terms of, I understand that there's some bylaws that we've got to deal with. Is that right?
Navigation safety bylaws
Yeah,
coming up for
which is-
review. Yeah.
Which is something that we hadn't actually anticipated.
Program to happen next year, we might need to do it early.
Right. And they'll go out to
Yeah,
consultation.
yeah. And that gives all that,
So I'll
everyone.
definitely be looking at putting that sort of stuff in there.
Right,
That's
right.
registration, like it's on the list. And a lot of districts already done it. I think you can, Wellington.
We did it for a particular lake there.
Marlborough.
from memory.
Yeah, so there's quite a few districts already done it. It's not.
Right,
we're
so
not gonna
we
be the
can make
first.
that decision to do this.
We could put a proposal for the new review of the bylaw, and then it obviously go out to consultation. And
It'll be approved by council for consultation.
Right,
Yeah.
but
So
the council has got the power to.
Yeah.
Register vote, require the vote.
You can sit beneath the national, I mean, Maritime New Zealand hold the national picture, but councils are allowed to, just to say with life jackets, Maritime New Zealand say you must carry them, and councils can say you must wear them. So it's so the local powers are with the council. Yeah.
So that means that somebody from Christchurch on holiday who doesn't have a registered jet ski can't actually launch it here if we change that bylaw.
no, actually, it depends on the wording of the bylaw. But
Yeah.
what most bylaws saying is they're accepting the fact that people come to the region, and you'd have a clause in there that says they have to meet their district's regulations.
Right.
Or
Yeah. So I can remember it was Lakewood in Canterbury where we set up a specified, you must register your motor vehicle.
Yeah.
Or before you can use it on a lake.
Right.
It's gone from there. So that was where the locals were particularly worried about the active behaviours of people that were putting their vessels on there. And so they convinced the council that a fine scale bylaw should be put in place.
And how easy was that to then police?
Well, it's pretty strong with, well, police is pretty straightforward, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
You're either registered or you're not.
Yes.
You know, it's an easy thing to register on the roads. And it's relatively easy on the boats. It's just that our national regulator doesn't have the appetite.
Yeah.
so what that might look like is sort of still open to debate, whether it's just going to be a just jet skis or whether it's, to me, it'd be very hard to do all everything under say 6 meters. But there's quite a lot of different councils have a different view on how to do that. So then it's a case of we'll have a look at the different councils, what they've got, and figure out what fits for our district. You can see it now. You go down Tata Beach or down Whaiteri in the middle of summer, and you can see the boats that have come from other areas because they've got registration on the side. They're there. You can see them. Just about all of Canterbury's boats have got registration on the side, and it normally is their trader registration. It's not like it's a separate system. Some districts are doing a different system, but then that obviously costs more money, and you've got to have a system. Yeah. But that might be the best way. Who knows? It's a starting point.
Certainly makes your job a lot easier. Yeah. Okay.
And it was, the incident that we had with the 3 jet skis, there was a photograph of that with registration on the side. We could go and say, excuse me, do you realise there's a speed limit there? Explain type thing.
I think, particularly in places like Laika Bay where they're very disturbing, where I have a lot of complaints.
So the big incident there this year, I did
Was
actually send a warning out to someone, and it was because we actually had a photo of them putting it back on the trailer.
Right.
And photo would identify the boat, so I did send just the saying, with our inflow pamphlet saying Laika Bay is not to be used for water skiing, and it's 5 knot zone. From that I couldn't do anything, because I can't prove who was driving the boat or anything like that to be there on the spot. But I did send a written saying.
So that's what the issue of registration would be
very useful.
useful there with that, because people are there with their phones and their cameras and.
Yeah, local pressure. So. big part of making these things successful.
I've also had it before with Aotearoa as well, where I've had local operators in Aotearoa estuary ask people on jet skis to slow down around his clients. This was a kayaking, and the guy goes, "Well, there's nothing you can do about it. No one knows who I am." Carried on. It's like there was no accountability. I was just blown away. The guy sent me a video of it, and it's like, well, I mean, it's not wrong. It's like it unless I can actually catch him. It's really impossible.
Compelling reason, isn't it, for?
Yeah, means people take the law into their own hands if that's the case, and that's what we also want to avoid. Thank you. It's yeah, it's not going to be an easy task, I'm sure. It's going to be complex issues, and but some good rewards too, perhaps. And yeah.
We can get this a few changes to the bylaw. Yeah, good results.
So we need to look out for that bylaw coming through and submit on it, don't we? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. The Golden Bay Museum mural. I can actually speak a little bit about this. I take it you've read that it's what has been written about it. Yeah, Chris has come to them and said, you know, he'd like to paint it and paint their building a little bit, and he's haven't got it on me, I'm afraid. He has brought some. He has done some mock-ups of it, and it's a little bit early days yet. There is changes, as we have probably all heard by now, with the Golden Bay Museum taking over their other building, the old building. So they're sort of looking at that as part of the whole picture. So I don't think we have to be in a rush on this, but I don't think we should let it fall off the radar, seeing that we've been asked to review it or have it come past us. So I think that's going to be a really good one to keep on the radar. And as I'm on the museum boards committee, I will keep us informed. Yeah, that's pretty much all we need to do on that.
There was, just a quick question, was it Chris's suggestion to do a mural? The museum board put it to him.
I think he came to them. He's usually pretty good at coming to other people and saying, "Hey, have you thought about this?" Because he's an artist and he gets bored.
Yeah.
And he and I think he might have talked to them a little bit about it with Karen, a little bit about, you know, what could be done where, and they've got some pretty good ideas about just especially doing things that bring the both buildings together a bit more once it's been be good for the museum. Yeah, pretty good. Because, you know, it's just sort of brown and not particularly exciting, really. I think it needs to stand out a bit more.
So where would it be?
Oh, the fascias at the front, fascia boards at the front. Sorry, I haven't brought it with me.
The one facing the street.
You know, the fascias and facing the street, both buildings, the whalery, and then there's a little bit of other sort of murally stuff.
Because it says here to renew current mural, but it's the external entrance for. I don't know what's.
There isn't one.
There isn't one.
No. I don't know quite where that.
Oh, so that's not quite.
That's not quite right.
Misleading.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't quite know what. Yeah. There's nothing to be renewed.
Okay.
We can do better. Okay.
I'm sorry, through you to clarify, this was just for your information
Yeah.
only, but there will be once they've looked at their ones, then it will come to the board.
Exactly.
To be deferred to the board to have the
Yeah.
final approval of council.
Yeah, goes by fire around it as well, and it was like, yeah, but that's probably not. That's just a mock-up, so it couldn't really be put out.
Yeah,
will have to go through Manapena, so yeah. Yeah, so it's a little ways off. It's just really
Just that.
it's going to come, but eventually. Okay. So it brings us to the action sheet. There wasn't a lot of movement on the action sheet.
Just put our, sorry, through you,
Yes.
just Chair.
Oh, yeah.
The late items.
Oh, the late items, of course it is. Yeah, yeah. So I've got to go to that next, but yep, late items. Do you want to speak to yours, Celia?
Yeah, okay, thank you, Chair. Yeah, the gist of my late item is that there are at least 3 roading areas which are in need of some kind of control and planning, and one of the first one is the intersection between Maupiki Street and the State Highway by the Telegraph, between the Telegraph and the petrol station. And ever since the supermarket moved to its current location, it's completely uncontrolled except for a giveaway sign. And it's there are people trying to cross, there's cars coming, vehicles coming in and out of the service station. And my understanding, and you will know a lot more than me, was that the community board had requested sometime in the past a traffic plan for there.
Okay, I can speak a little bit more to that too.
Yeah.
So it's actually a stop sign, not a giveaway sign there. But most people would give way instead of using it as a stop. The police have a field day.
We asked for a crossing there.
But we've asked for a crossing. That wasn't us that asked for the crossing, it was Grey Power. So Grey Power came to us, he came to the mayor, Mike, and he wanted to see a crossing somewhere there, a safety crossing, because it is actually very dangerous when you're trying to cross between the petrol station and the hotel. A lot of people who want to walk, who choose to walk to the supermarket. We went there and had a look at it, and we watched some near misses in the 15 minutes we were there of people trying to cross. And it's just a matter of time that somebody actually does get hit there. There is the island further along on the state highway. But if you're on the other side of the road, you can walk to that. But again, walking past the shop and the exit from the car park is also fraught with other difficulties. And I don't know if a mobility scooter gets through that little island thingy in the middle of the state highway. We looked at different parts, and Robert did come back to us with some very clear possibilities, but the nature of it is that you can't have a pedestrian crossing right where the petrol station comes in and out. You can't have it too close to the corner, especially that particular corner. You can't have it further down because the fire and emergency is also exiting out of there. And the exit from the supermarket is also coming out of there, plus the Telegraph Hotel's car park. So it's a very awkward one to mitigate, to fix. The other aspect of that, apparently the footprint of the petrol station, their footprint actually goes further out onto the road than what we're actually taking. I believe there's some issues around that. One of the other ideas that came up was to do a roundabout there, right in that centre, but then you'd lose a whole lot of car parks on the other side where the Ritz bar is, and that would also make it a bit of a bottleneck in there to make a roundabout. So it's actually a pretty major difficulty to look at.
Thank you. So the point, what I'm raising is that are there traffic situations that are too hard, and does that mean then that we do nothing? That's the question. And so the point I'm making is that there is that situation. And then we have recently been advised that Pukekohe with the complex traffic issues there, where we've got, you know, big trucks, articulated trucks, we've got tourists, we've got all sorts of moving parts all the time. And that council has advised that they won't transport. My understanding is that transport is not, you know, going to look at that. And then we've got the third situation of Riley Street. So it's not, I'm not looking at actually the individual solutions for each individual problem. I'm just looking at the fact that we have three potentially dangerous areas which I think need some review and some action, and that I would like the community board to ask for report on the situation of Golden Bay and our dangerous traffic situations.
Yep, I think that's a very good idea. Receive a report on all three of those items. And then Riley Street was, we had a plan presented to us last community board. Right. We had a plan presented to us because two of the members all decided they weren't very happy about it. It never went ahead. And it was just put on in limbo, and we need, and now it's gotten worse down there too.
There are risks, there are dangers.
Yeah, very much so.
All those three
especially with
sites,
especially
which are only going to get worse.
Yeah. So yes, I think that's a really good idea. Can we request a report, that the community board requests a report on the Riley Street footpaths and safety aspects of it? Down on Riley Street too, there's yellow lines that went around the corner by the Drummond's house. Those dotted yellow lines to stop people parking, they've faded away to nothing. And when I asked for it to be, you know, repainted, I was told that it wasn't on their list, that whoever had done it illegally and put it there, and they don't actually, so they can't repaint them because they don't exist, or they are, and it would have to go through, what was it? It would have to go through full council to get that approved.
Jamie says it only needs to go through a small process, whatever that means.
Does he? Okay.
So he's not saying it's a big.
Oh, good. That needs to happen. It's just little things like that on that particular. So if we can ask for a report on Riley Street footpath, and I know there's some stuff going on with one of the houses over there, properties over there, and they want to expand or do something there, and they're going to need to put footpathing in. And there's solutions around that as well. So we don't, you know, really want a footpath on the other side of Riley Street. But that's what's been proposed. And I think Riley Street is a footpath on the playground side, even if it's a painted one.
There's one within the reserve, obviously. Footpath.
Yeah. That's it.
Jamie says there's the existing path within the reserve. It's on our new footpath priority matrix at number 24. So it's there in the system, it's ranked number 24, and we do 1 to 2 per year.
Okay. So in 12 or 14 years, we might
under the status quo.
Yeah.
But there is one inside the reserve. So it's
inside that reserve, where the fence is, inside the fence. Yeah.
They're basically saying there is one there, but it's inside, not outside.
Right.
There's one on the matrix at number 24 for doing what I think you're talking about.
81.
So the two, that sounds like it's the way that the two issues of Pukekohe and Motueka Street State Highway need to be, I'd like to have community board to get a report or an answer as to whether or not they're going to be looked at in terms of improving the safety.
It's pretty much a major safety issue.
Yeah.
We need something best there. I think the unfortunate thing is that Takaka is on a triangle, not a square, and it would have been so much easier had it been square and not a triangle. Triangles have their own problem. So can we?
Yeah, sorry for clarification. Can I just confirm which section of Able Tasman Drive around the port that we're talking about?
Between
The outside the port between
O'Hara Valley Road?
no, it's actually outside the port itself. So where would we?
So that you're talking about an isolated section of Able Tasman Drive as opposed to where the shared path ends at O'Hara Valley Road?
No, it's actually the movements of vehicles in and out of the port and in and out of the quarry.
Okay.
So does that make sense? So it's actually the area
From the boat club to
from
the hole in the rock.
archway. Yeah,
Back
the
to
boat club entrance, probably to the archway.
Yeah, but don't you think the rest of it all the way back to
Yeah, but
O'Hara?
it's a different issue.
Okay,
It's different. This
Right.
is about the movement of vehicles in and out of the entrances.
okay, thank you.
Well, it would be the eastern entrance to the port, because it's
Right.
through the archway, is that.
Yeah.
In and out of there.
Oh, yeah, you're right,
It's
yes,
just past.
Sort of that,
right,
sort of
right. So it'll be that eastern entrance, from the eastern entrance to the western entrance.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
And then the
Thank you.
quarry exits
Yeah.
within that.
Yeah, and then the entrance to the western arm.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's. Other.
Yeah. That makes sense, Jess?
Yeah, it does.
Especially where the boat club goes in, that's probably the. So, because there's a lot of camp vans in and out of there now, so.
So the main issue is that there are rock contracts, the rocks are being taken in. Big trucks with rocks are going in and out of the port entrance, and at the same time there are vehicles coming in and out of the quarry over the road. And then at the same time there are vehicles going through, and some of those are stopping and starting. I saw big carriage trucks and so forth with mussels on them. Going in and
I think I went through there yesterday, and there was a truck showing with a truck on it saying prepare to stop or something along those lines. They've obviously tried to mitigate some kind of warning system up there. I don't know if that's actually prepare to stop is particularly going to be effective. Yeah. Okay. So did we get that? Yes. So you're just going to, ask for reports.
Yeah, so what I have there is action, an action to seek a report from Transportation on the potential to install a footpath on the southern side of Riley Street, and raising concerns of safety on Able Tasman Drive at Port Harakoa between the two entrances of the port, including the quarry area, as this area has a lot of heavy traffic movements.
And the corner of Moropipi and State Highway.
Is that,
The
sorry,
intersection.
yes, but is that regarding footpaths or crossings? or-
Crossing and just safety in general.
So sorry, revisiting that.
Revisiting the safety, yeah. I could be happy, won't you? Like, great power dude.
Oh,
Stream. Sure.
Have that just,
I have got revisiting the safety concerns around pedestrian access at the Moropapi Commercial and Willow Streets intersection.
Yes.
so that might be perfect.
You're going to talk about your yellow lines as well?
Oh, you mentioned the yellow lines, yes, and the, around the Drummond's property to be repainted.
No, no.
I just let the lights come in.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful thing.
All right. Now the action sheet. Which was done. I've already reported back to you on that. And we've got an action, and we're going to have a report. Next thing is to get a report about whether those sections and the action of turning it into a wetland down there, Bahara sections, is a viable proposition for council to be involved in.
The community board.
Community board.
Yeah. Sounds like it's 3 staff all input into that report.
That's
Was one of them, he was online and did that conversation.
good. Well, it's Barbara and Trevor.
Met Trevor and another fellow.
Yeah. Good.
Sean. Shane Jonah. Shane Jonah.
Same Jonah.
3 of them.
Okay.
Well, thanks. I'll be able to talk to you about that.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the yep, that's the end of the chair's report. I'll move that. Would someone like to second it? Nothing else? All in favour? Alright.
Are you going to talk about the new board meals?
We've mentioned that, and it's just ready for our information. We're going to be looking through that later when they've got more. Yep, now brings us to the financial summary. I take it as read. Is there any questions about our financial situation? No, it's true. Yeah, but I see we've got 37,000 in our special projects fund, which is, can you remember when we get more? You get another 10 or so K.
1st of July.
1st July. So, yeah.
Financial year.
Okay.
So, Jess, you mentioned that the policy about how to allocate special projects funding. Is that being drafted, or is it, what is, sorry, just to recap on what you said before.
Yeah, so at the moment, the democracy team are in the process of reviewing and establishing a joint special projects funding policy to cover both community boards, so Motueka and Golden Bay community boards, and the distribution of the special projects funding from both boards as a single policy. So they're in the process of working through that. It's been put to the chairs for comment. The chairs were to forward that out to the board. So I've got an action here for Abby to resend that information out to you all, because she will need to collate your comments on that document to feed back to democracy, so they can create a draft final document, which will then come to their board for approval. And then at that stage, the board will approve that, and it'll go, I believe, to council for adoption, but I'm not clear on that.
So, but that's not stopping us from going ahead and spending this.
Well,
In the meantime.
In the meantime,
I'm not sure.
it's not.
it shouldn't do.
No, it's not.
It shouldn't do. We haven't got anything at the moment. We have got a policy. We've got our own. We had our own policy around it.
So that would stay.
I'm not sure that we did.
Okay, because I know that the discretionary fund policies.
Yes,
it
it sits separately to
I
the
know,
special projects fund.
And we were slightly different than Motueka. We had a joint one. We had a joint one with them on that. and are slightly different. I'm assuming they want to just tidy it up and make it slightly different, but same for both these criteria.
Should we have a workshop to look at just a very brief
When-
one at some point,
Well,
just to look at options for what is possible?
Yeah,
But wouldn't be a nice point until you get the report back from the.
Yeah, but
don't have to wait till.
we don't have to wait for that. We've been allocating
Yeah.
special projects money.
Sure.
This may take a long time
Right,
to get
yeah,
through
yeah.
the system.
Yeah,
We've always.
I mean, we owe it to the
allocated
community.
some system or other.
Hmm.
Yeah. And we've never really worked out what system we wanted because I don't think we have that. I think you're right. We haven't had an actual clear guidelines as to how we allocate that money. I think Motueka may have had clear guidelines for theirs, and they've done a pretty good job over the years. And I think if they do it the way by coming up with their community board and council downright big list of stuff that they feel fit the criteria of what the money's about, and then they put the list, they shortlist shortlisted amongst themselves to about 10 or 15 projects, still over prescribed, but then those are put out to the community, and the feedback is then worked out. What projects go ahead and what don't. That's pretty much how they do it.
Do something along those lines.
So we could have a workshop, it's just a thought,
It'd be-
to come up with ideas.
Yeah, I think so.
As a sort of long list.
Yeah, maybe we could do that before next meeting.
Yeah,
Earlier in the day.
we can do that. We can do it first by email, and we can
Right.
send all the ideas in by email.
Sure.
And then we can sort of sit down and sit around the table and go, okay, we've got 417 ideas. Let's get it down to 3. No, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris, what do you think of that? Is that line with your thoughts around this?
Yeah, I think it's fine. We could consider too whether there's a issue, isn't there, around workshops and whether they're open for the public or not. And as a board, we could consider whether we think that workshops could be opened. Might be time to think about that.
Yeah, I thought. Okay. So let's set it for maybe a week before the next meeting. How does that sit with everybody?
That we put email
That we
suggestions.
put the suggestions out, that the whole board put the suggestions out, and we convene a week before our next meeting to sort of shortlist.
But also if the public, if the community have suggestions on special projects, that we'll need to give the community the opportunity to apply
Well,
for a special project.
what we could do is say, well, it's about having the clarity for the community. I mean, people might go, oh, we want to plant fruit trees on the village green, or something, so we have to be a bit clear with the public what is, we can only do things with council assets on this. That's one of the clarities around it, so it has to be a council asset, I think.
The criteria
Yeah.
that'll be in the policy is really going to help guide you on that, which at the moment, we don't really have a lot of clarity on that.
Yeah. I know Motueka have got one.
they also have a considerably larger special projects fund.
Yeah, 80K. 60K, 80K. That's right. No, we're going to do it.
Just have our own brainstorm.
Should we have our own brainstorm and just, yep, a list, yep.
Then that we'll decide what we're going to cover.
Yeah.
And we can also see the progress.
And then
See.
Meantime.
as well.
Policy as well.
Hopefully Abby will get the policy out to us, the draft policy out to us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Financial report.
Yeah. Okay, so is that everything around the financial report? I'm just double checking. I know we're not Robert, we don't look at this sort of stuff as fine tooth through a magnifying glass like it does.
I'm happy to move.
Yep, yeah, second it. All in favour? Aye. Carried. And that brings us to the end of our meeting. So, but Kim, can you close with sure, here, please?
Kia ora te marino, kia whakapapa po namo te moana, araha utu, araha mai, tēnā tātou, tēnā tātou, tēnā tātou katoa. Go forth, it is to the harbourmasters' presence. The sea shines like greenstone, goodwill has been exchanged, acknowledgements to you, me, and everyone here.
Thank you.
Thank you to Jess for the technology. I don't know how you manage it.